So just yesterday we got the announcement trailer and the release of Ark Survival Ascended, and it is already breaking computers. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be testing out the game to see how it runs on my Ryzen 9 5950X RTX 4090 and my 32GB of RAM. The game is also installed on my 980 Pro SSD, and we're just going to do some testing. We're probably going to do some 1080p, maybe some 1440p if I have time, and some 4K as well. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to showcase just how much your computer is not ready for Ark Survival Ascended. This game is running full UE5. I believe it's either 5.2 or 5.3 for Unreal Engine 5. So it has full nanite support, it has crazy high texture quality, it has full lumen support as the default lighting, which means the default lighting is ray trace. So make sure that when you open this game, if you are looking at buying it, that you understand that your graphics card needs to have good ray tracing performance. If you're on like an AMD or a lower end 20 series card from NVIDIA, you will have a very rough time. Even 3080s right now are having a very rough time playing this game. This game continues the trend of making sure that your computer screams in agony as it tries to render these crazy beautiful worlds. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's go ahead and look at the settings, and then we'll jump into some actual gameplay here. Alright, so as you can see, I have the Riva Tuner numbers to the top right hand corner so we can all keep up with the GPU, memory, CPU, and RAM, as well as the actual frame rate there and the frame time graph that I've now added as well. So here's the settings the game naturally defaults you to as well. As you can see, the graphics preset defaults you to medium. So of course, we're going to go through here. We're going to set everything to epic as well, so we can just have everything on the highest it can possibly be. We're going to go through here and change these interaction quantity limits and distance limits up to the maximum they can be because, of course. But in the next tab over, we have a dedicated RTX tab. So as you can see here, you have NVIDIA DLSS, you have frame generation, and you have super resolution on as well, with a bunch of different options all the way to DLAA, which I'm actually going to run that because I'm only at 1080p. So like, we just want to see what native 1080p runs like. And I think we're going to leave frame generation on. We can go ahead and turn that off if we really wanted to see how low our frame rate goes, but I think we're going to leave frame gen on. But all right, without further ado, let's go ahead and make a game and see what it looks like on the inside. Here we are. In the opening sequence, oh, it is loading all of the shaders. There is no shader compilation in here. It is loading all of the shaders. Holy crap. We're getting 75 FPS with frame generation on at 1080p with a 4090, using about 18 gigabytes of RAM there. We're using about 16 to 20% of my CPU, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and we're using 94% or 95-ish percent of my GPU. So this game is definitely way more GPU intensive than it is CPU intensive, and it's mainly because of the lumen lighting that they have by default. There is no option to turn that off, by the way. So that's why I said earlier, if your graphics card cannot handle ray tracing, as we saw with like Lords of the Fallen and Immortals of Avium and a bunch of other games, if your computer cannot handle ray tracing very well, this game is going to struggle really hard. And as you can see, even a 4090 at 1080p is going to be struggling really hard too. But overall, I mean, if we look around, you can only see slight micro stutters, those little spikes in the frame time graph, little tiny micro stutters here and there, but it's pretty smooth actually, until we get those like loading stutters whenever I run around. Like, you can tell that there's no shader compilation in this game at all. They have to add that in there. But just look at this though, dude. Whoa, that was a big old spike there. Holy crap. And look at the water. Look at the little like vortex in the water. That's crazy, man. Holy crap, that might be some of the best water I've seen in a game. You actually have waves in it, and you actually have like little vortex swirls in the water with like foam and stuff in it. Wow, just look at the detail you have as the plants interact with you as you walk around and stuff too. We might be looking at the next kind of crisis benchmark for PCs, I'm not gonna lie. There's just so much going around with the plant interactions, the water physics, the lighting, the nanites, the texture quality. So not everything is perfect just yet. This game is in early access, as you can tell with these shadows being all flickery and weird and stuff like that. I'm assuming it's just the polling rate of the actual sun shadows updating from the lumen. Wow, look at this view. And I really quickly want to see what we're going to get without frame generation on, and then we can go ahead and run around some more areas, and then we'll check out the 4K stuff as well. Okay, so without frame generation on, we're getting about 42 FPS here using 19 gigabytes of RAM, 15% of my CPU, 11 gigabytes of VRAM, and 95% of my GPU. So again, this game is fully GPU limited. Yep, so really it's 45 to 35 FPS at 1080p without frame generation on, so I really don't know why you would want to turn frame generation off with a 4000 series card. Like, I just don't, like, that's part of the feature list for it, but if you are that person who doesn't like frame generation because it's fake frames, this is what you can expect without the fake frames, you know? This is 1080p with a 4090. Your PC is not ready. If you're on anything lower than a 4090, which is literally everything, you are not ready. Look at the detail on this dodo bird here. Anybody want any dodo nuggets? Okay, so just for poops and giggles, I went ahead and I turned on the DLSS to quality at 1080p, so we're technically running the game at 720p internally and then upscaling it up to 1080p, and we're getting about 90 FPS with frame generation on, so this is... this is going to be one of those games you need like a 5090 or a 6090 for, because good lord, this is like Crisis level. I feel like I'm back in that early Crisis days where like you'd bought like a $5,000 computer just to play Crisis at like 720p 30 FPS. Like that's literally what we're doing here, except it's 720p 90 FPS. And we're using the DLSS to upscale us from 720p to 1080p, but still, like, we're back in like 2007, baby. Look at this, man. This is crazy. All right, so really quickly, we're going to head out and we're going to switch to 1440p and jump right back in for just a couple of minutes to really see what it looks like at 1440p. And then after 1440p, we're going to jump in and we're going to do... Oh my god, look at the shadow of the bird on the water. How cool is that? Anyway, and so yeah, and then we're going to jump back in and do some 4K benchmarks as well. And I don't have high hopes for the 4K benchmarks, considering that without frame generation, without any sort of help from the DLSS as well, we're getting like... we're getting like 45 FPS at 1080p. The 4K numbers are going to be like 20 FPS, so, you know, that's going to be fun. So let's go ahead and swap around and I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, so we are back on some 1440p. It does not like me running this game at 1440p, by the way. I've turned off DLSS and I've turned off frame generation, so this is raw native 1440p. And because I don't have a 1440p monitor natively, I've had to brute force my monitor up to 1440p, and let me tell you, it does not like it. But we're getting about 30 FPS, so you could really see this 4K numbers are going to be like 20 FPS if we're getting 33 FPS on average at 1440p without frame generation on, without DLSS on, with a 4090. Like, that's how crazy this is. What is that? Okay, I managed to find my way up onto this upper cliff area where that big dinosaur was. I want to go see what it was. Where was that thing? I found it. Oh my god. Look at... Oh my god. What the heck? Oh my god. Don't step on me. It's fine. Look at this game, though. This is unbelievably pretty. I mean, it's completely demolishing my frame rate at 25 FPS at 1440p without anything else turned on. I mean, look at this view with that big old behemoth off in the distance knocking down trees. Look at the trees like wiggling and shaking and everything. Each leaf in each palm frond of the palm trees. Like, how crazy is that, man? This is insane. They did not hold back. Okay, in this exact moment here, I want to switch to 4K, so I'll be right back. Okay, we're back at 4K now, and so hey, do you guys like 15 FPS at 4K? But 4K here, 4K looking out, we're getting 15 FPS here. How crazy is this? That frame time graph is like 30 to 60 milliseconds now. 15 FPS. Woo, that is not a lot. That is not very good. Let's turn on the frame generation and DLSS and see if that can help. See if I can actually get it to work. Okay, so wow, it actually is working. Okay, so 4K with DLSS at quality and frame generation turned on. The only issue, as you can see at the bottom there, the HUD isn't, like the bottom right and the bottom little hotbar there, the HUD does not like it. So the HUD still needs some work with the frame generation, but it's now 50 FPS. So even like a dense forest like this, we're getting about 50-ish, like 47 to 52-ish in that range at 4K. If you want to play this game at 4K, you need frame generation and you need DLSS to, at minimum, quality with a 4090. This is a beefy game. Look at this view, dude. With the rocks on the beach. And the water with the clouds and everything, like, this is unbelievably pretty. Holy crap. This must have been how it felt to play Crysis back in the day, legitimately. Like, this must have been how it felt. Now, I know I can be a bit of an optimist, so I know that I'm kind of hyping this game up as super beautiful and everything, but I just can't help it. When games look this good, like when developers put in this much work to make a game look this good, like I can't help but praise them a little bit. So, in my perspective, it's just an incredibly taxing game with the full volumetric clouds, with the lumen lighting, with the volumetric lighting across the board, with the water, with the nanite, with the high quality textures, like with the chaos physics system, with the AI, like you name it, this game does it. Wow, look at the water. The water is so cool looking. Terrifying for people like me with thalassophobia, but you know, what does the water look like though? For the people that want to see the water, here you go. I am terrified of the ocean, terrified of the water, but look at the detail in these rocks. What was that sound? Ha! No. No. I don't like it. I'm out. Nope, that's fine. The underwater does look gorgeous, man. I mean, even with the water caustics and everything, like, this is insane looking. Okay, so in an area like this, which is a pretty dense little forest area with a bunch of water and a bunch of shade and everything, I want to see what this game does with, like, ultra performance at 4K and just see how that really helps it. Okay, so I believe the internal resolution is now like, what is it, like 720p or something for 4K at ultra performance, and it definitely looks way more pixely, but we're getting that 60 FPS now in this area. So, I mean, it doesn't look great, but if you want that 60 at 4K, I mean, you can technically get it, kinda. So let me know what your thoughts are on this game in the comments down below. This is going to be a very hot topic for a lot of people because I think it's gorgeous. I think it's very, very beautiful, and I hope they do optimize it because that frame time graph up there is not having a fun time. It's definitely getting some fluctuations and some spikes and some shader compilation issues, but overall the graphics are stunning. But what are your thoughts on this game in the comments down below? Like, do you think it's a beautiful game? Do you think it's worth this performance because of the graphics? Do you think this is like the future of games? Do you think Unreal Engine is just a bad engine? Like, let me know, because I can be a bit of an optimist. So if you're a realist and you have other thoughts than what I have in this video, let me know in the comments down below. If you're like me though, also let me know that too. Let's share our thoughts on this game and really get our thoughts out there. I would definitely say that their #1 concern should 100% be shader compilation stutters. So be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you guys are new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out. Like the video if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for hanging out. Later, nerds.